I'd been asked to welcome everybody this morning, or this afternoon, evening. I certainly want to thank everybody for coming out on a cold night. I realize the temperature's down, and but again, I think we have a great turnout here this evening. And this meeting is going to be chaired tonight by Senator Art Kirkendall from Logan County, and he'll describe a little bit about the format of the meeting when we get going here. This is a second meeting of this body that was appointed earlier by Senate President Jeff Kessler. It is the SCORE initiative, which is an initiative to take a look at some of the issues and challenges we have in southern West Virginia with respect to the revitalization and re-energizing our economy, improvements in the quality of life that we've long enjoyed in southern West Virginia. I'm particularly pleased to be able to host this meeting in Oak Hill this evening, and would like to extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to John David for making this facility available to us this evening. The Southern Appalachian Labor School, certainly an important partner in the community in which we live. I think we're going to be talking this evening, and I think the format is designed in order for us to primarily listen rather than talk, which is sometimes a little bit of a challenge for us in public service. We're often used to talking, but we are truly here to listen this evening and to listen to ideas and thoughts on ways in which we can strengthen and improve the communities in which we live. I have lived in Fayette County, West Virginia all my life, and I do so as a matter of choice, and certainly this county is very important to me and means a lot to me. We all, I think, have long recognized Fayette County is a very special place. We actually have three distinct geographic regions in Fayette County. I was sheriff of this county for 16 years, and I pretty well know the geography of this county. But again, for my colleagues, we have the Plateau District of Fayette County, which is inclusive of primarily the Oak Hill, Mount Hope areas. We have the New Haven District of Fayette County, which is again in the Anstead-Hyco area coming back to the eastern end of Fayette County. And then the geographic region of Fayette County known as the Valley District of Fayette County. So in some ways it's three counties in one almost in terms of just the topography and geography of the county, which produces some, I think, a lot of diversity in terms of the geography of the county. And but we are a county that has a very rich heritage and history. We've long been associated with the Coalfields of southern West Virginia as a south central West Virginia county. I look at the high water mark back in the 30s and 40s when, prior to the mechanization of coal, the many hundreds of coal mine jobs that we had, certainly a lot of the communities that dot the landscape of Fayette County, some of which have long been associated with the mining of coal in southern West Virginia. Such places as Scarborough, Glen Jean, Whipple, Log Galley, Summerlee. These are dots on the map, perhaps, smaller communities now, but at one time the source of great mineral wealth, and which contributed mightily to the economy of the state of West Virginia. With some of the declines and some of the challenges we face, we do have challenges that certainly must be met. Certainly affordable housing is a particular challenge in Fayette County. We had a report today from the Housing Development Fund, which sort of chronicles the state of housing in the state of West Virginia. Substance abuse and addiction is a critical problem that we face in the communities in which we live. Public education is a challenge you'll find in Fayette County. We are currently a takeover county where the state of West Virginia has come in and seized control of our county school systems. So those are the kinds of challenges that we face in Fayette County. But the list of assets, and I'm by nature a very optimistic person, we are, I think, perhaps the most beautiful place on the planet. We have a wonderful tourism industry that is important to the regional economy of the state of West Virginia. But as we learned yesterday in a combined meeting of economic development and our Parks and Recreation Committee, there are more recent challenges in the whitewater industry where we find ourselves with a tourism base that's in a posture of decline. And again, there was a report tendered and made available to that committee yesterday that suggests that increased market and advertising of some of the tourism attractions we have can certainly go a long way in addressing those problems. We have we have a one-year baccalaureate institution, Western U Tech, which is located in Montgomery. We also have a community and technical college, Bridge Valley, which again is important to the regional economy of the Upper Kanawha Valley. So again, we have 2 acute care hospitals. They're critical access hospitals, but we have one here in Oak Hill. We have Montgomery General in the Valley. So we have certainly a good, solid inventory of assets that give us reasons to be optimistic about improvements in the quality of life in Fayette County. I could go on and on, but again, my primary purpose is to welcome people here tonight, and certainly I commend President Kessler for the continuation of this initiative and dialogue, discussion about the importance of southern West Virginia as it relates to the future of the state of West Virginia. So with no further delay, I'll relinquish the microphone to you, Mr. Chairman. This is State Senator Art Kirkendall, a good friend and senator from the great county of Logan.
I want to apologize for getting lost. I was at the Citgo station, but I found my way. And what we're trying to do here, I represent the 7th Senatorial District, Logan, Boone, Lincoln, Mingo, and Wayne. I was on the county commission in Logan for 30 years, over half my life. I started when I was 28 years old. And when I got there, I seen some things we had to do. We had 2 fine guys on the county commission, but they were both doctors. Nothing wrong with that. But coming from, my dad was a coal miner, and my family were coal miners. I had a hydraulic shop. And they said back then I beat the machine, they called it. I knocked on doors, and then when I got there, I knew I owed the public something. And I only campaigned on 3 issues. The kids, taking care of the kids, the senior citizens, and an open door policy to everybody. And evidently it worked. I won 5 elections, and then I was appointed to the Senate when Governor Tomlin, then Senate President, became governor. And I filled his unexpired term of November, December 2011 and 12, and I ran for 12 and had a successful election. And I'll tell you what, I used to be a little bit critical of senators and House people when I was a county commissioner. I thought they didn't do anything. Guys, I apologize. I want to just openly apologize to all of you. I've been there since 8 o'clock this morning, and I had a way to opt out of this meeting. The governor's mom is laying, tonight as her wake. I texted him, I said, we started this initiative. We wanted to have 4 meetings before the session. This is the 2nd one. I'm finishing up the 4th one in my home county, or in between Logan and Boone, 2 counties I represent. I said, I will be at the funeral tomorrow. We can't waste much more time. And I found out when I got there to watch the budget as it starts a dwindling pattern. We had to get into the rainy day fund last year. It's a little frightening. Can West Virginia survive? I think we have the most initiative people I've ever met, the hardest working people, but we've got to be open for business. And to be open for business, you have to have business. We found out in my area, we've got hit extremely hard in Boone County, and one reason, they was the #1 coal county at one time. And now Marshall County is, they only have 2 mines, but they employ as many as my county does with 40-some people, mines. So how do we do this? Well, thankfully, the President of the Senate talked to a lot of us Southern guys, and I said, look, this is not about Logan, Boone, Lincoln, Mingo, and Wayne, it's actually about West Virginia, but particularly the southern part, which I consider just representing everybody that I can. I take time, if you're from Oak Hill and you come down to my office, I'll see you and listen to you. But with what we're trying to do now, coal will rebound. I serve on the Southern States Energy Board. Thanks to the President, I've been to Oklahoma, I've been to Alabama, I've been to Mississippi. I have a background in coal and the importance of coal. The world wants coal. But for some reason, the Appalachian region has a challenge unlike anything I've ever seen. You know, I believe that you gotta be environmentally sound, take care of things and do it properly right. I'm an extreme environmentalist in that respect. But in my county, you know, we live on 45-degree slopes, we don't have any flat land. But the flat land that we've been able to leave after we extracted the coal, we have an airport, we have a shopping mall, we have a golf course, we have an industrial park, we have a regional jail, all the diversification that we would be able not to have if we didn't take that land and make something decent and affordable with it. We signed initiatives last year to really press the issue of affordable housing. What do I call affordable housing? When a coal company leaves out, and what they call it a master land usage program, part of the permit process when they extract the coal, you simply put yourself in a position as an economic development or redevelopment authority in that particular county to be ready to do an affordable housing project on that post-mine land. Well, when you can leave the water, the power, and the sewer there, you've knocked off about 30% of the cost. Then people starting out young or people that need to have a place they can affordably pay for, they can have a house normally that costs $125,000, maybe for $70,000, based on the infrastructure already being there. So there's a lot of things we've got to look at. What this group is trying to do, we've been meeting with Walt Helmick. Everybody knows Walt, former senator, now Commissioner of Agriculture. In fact, I'm flying to Washington, D.C. on the 5th, along with Senator Stallings, to see about some pig farms on some of this post-mine land. You know why? It's not going to bother the public. I don't want to bother the public. But if it's on that post-mine land, they're not going to smell it, they're not going to see it. But what we can do, if we are smart enough, we might have a slaughterhouse, as they would call it, or a package plant, or whatever you want to call it, with a couple thousand people. That's where we got to get to. When our kids come out of school, they don't want to work in the energy sector, I'm okay with that. But we got to find out ways to put them in tourism. We got to find out ways to put them in enhanced healthcare jobs. I'm also working with a group in my county to put a behavioral unit in southern West Virginia. I was told last time when I put the bill out there that they didn't want to do a tax credit, and I had to tell an entrepreneur, you can't spend $7 million of your own money. Well, I'm not going to give up on that idea. I hooked him up at DHHR. We're checking how do we do this at 70 quality jobs, $30,000, $40,000 insurance. That's what this group's all about, diversification. Our first meeting was in Beckley, and I'm proud and honored to be here in Oak Hill. We will have one more by designation to take care of some of the other centers. We'll finish up in the Logan or Boone area, whichever area is accessible to people. We will take those ideas back, and we will hope the bipartisanship sets in. It don't need to be Republican, Democrat. It needs to be about you guys. You know, your kids need the ability to have a job. Also, I found out in my tenure as a senator how many multi-millions of dollars we spend on all the social programs that we have to deal with. My God, if you've seen what we're putting into some of these drug rehab centers, some of these counseling centers, some of these things, we're working with regional jail systems and everything else to try to rehabilitate people. But you go back and do the research anytime you choose to. When a young man or young lady, and I say that just because that's the normalcy of people that's out there in the work field trying to make a living, data will show When they're working, you don't have domestic violence as much. You don't have as much divorce. You don't have as much drug intake and usage because they work. They're proud and glad to see each other on the weekend. They take their kids to the programs they need to go to, and they're not dysfunctional. I've got a dysfunctional family, and if I ask everybody to raise their hand in here, if you're not touched by drugs or some dysfunctionality, God bless you. That's what we're facing. But I'm proud to be working with a group of guys sitting up here that we do care. We think we got some great ideas, but you know what? I was amazed when we went to Beckley, and when we start this program, we'll try to keep you at about 2 minutes. We don't want to be disrespectful, but we always ask you to be respectful of the next person speaking. And I will be giving the first person with whoever's on deck. And I got a lot of maybes, so I'll ask you if you choose to speak, because maybe you've changed your mind after listening to me blow a little bit, okay? So, but this is very necessary, what we're doing. I look through the room. I see some business people I've dealt with legislation that care about jobs. I see some economic development people here that I know. But the main thing, the people and the public in this area is here at least to see what their neighbors think about some things that we need to be doing that maybe is not on the board. And you talk about, and the good Senator Laird was talking about tourism. Well, I don't know if y'all have heard the success story of Michigan. Michigan was either the 6th or 7th least likely place for anybody to go spend any money. Well, they brought in a professional group, put together an absolutely superb advertisement team and effort. And I think now they're in the top 5 of where people want to go. Now, by golly, I'll tell you this. If people want to go to Michigan, they sure want to come to West Virginia with what we've done. You know what I mean? So if we got to find another 2.3 or 3.2 million to get the word out that, hey, come ride our Hatfield-McCoy Trail. While you're here, do the whitewater rafting, do snowshoe. We got some of the most beautiful golf courses, but we're the best kept secret in the world. We really are. Something else you may not know. Last year we increased our exportation of goods on our West Virginia roads by 30%. Would y'all believe that? Wow. We're sending a lot of things out of here. We're blessed to have Marcellus Shale booming in the northern part of the state. Well, don't be in too much disarray. In about 15 years, we're going to come down here and get to Utica, baby. And we got plenty of it, okay? It just happens to be a little deeper, but now that they know how to get it quicker, faster, and better, we're going to survive. But until we get to that point, we've got to give everybody an opportunity. We've got to increase our tourism activity. We got to increase our healthcare activity. We got to have the other social jobs. We got to sit down with the small business people. Waltz programs. Waltz programs are where that you can get yourself in a position as an entrepreneur to maybe even have a low interest loan long term if you want to get in the agriculture business. And I'm very applauding on what he's trying to do. I mean, he's touching places in agriculture that we hadn't touched before. There's no reason why we can't grow potatoes for the prisons, for our schools, save that money. There's a lot of things we can do. But we got to step our game up too. So tonight, after anybody else here, Senator Miller wants to say anything, or Delegate Peary, what I'll do, I'm ready to close. I'm going to start asking people to come to the podium, and we'll go on a 2-minute cycle, and we won't be disrespectful if you're 15 or 20 seconds over, but we'll let you know, and we want to hear from everybody, and all this is going to be noted and taken back.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much for being here this evening. And on behalf of Mother Jones, who's behind you, who's always said there's never peace in West Virginia because there's never justice, I hope that you will turn that around. I have a couple of things to say. I know we've got a couple of minutes, and I'm going to be respectful to everybody else. But my name is John David, Director of Southern Appalachian Labor School, and I want to thank you for being here. A couple of comments about things. You know, I think in the other session, I think you clearly heard all kinds of information about tourism and, you know, what I consider the big picture items. And I want to just focus on a couple of basic things. I'm concerned, and I think we're concerned here at SALS, about those who have dropped out of school and those who are basically those folks who are coming out of or are offenders. And how can we put them into a productive, more enhanced situation in life? And again, here in Fayette County, where if you look at the 8th grade enrollment and the 12th grade graduation, we have a very, very high percent of folks that don't don't make it, probably close to in the upper 20s and 30% range. That's a serious problem that needs to be addressed if we're going to have a productive and healthy workforce for whatever is going to happen tomorrow. Here, we try to do that with Youth Build and with the Workforce Investment Board. We need support for that so that they can have an education, get a heads up, move out of their environment and do something that is productive. In that regard, I passed out tonight for you to look at a recent statement that was put out by folks that indicate that USDA left $100 million on the table for rural America for affordable housing. What that means is that there's a lot of money, low interest loan money, that was sent back and is available and was never put to use, and that concerns us in West Virginia because we have an affordable housing, we have a housing crisis. I think that what we're proposing, as we have done, is that we would like to do more energy audits. We would like to go in people's homes and help them understand how they can save money with energy efficiency, how that money that's saved can be used to pay a very low interest on home repairs, how we can take, in essence, the importation of capital, how we can, in essence, save energy, how, in essence, then we can put some of the youth to work that we're training here into permanent jobs to improve housing. The money is there, the money is available, the youth are there, we just need to have that happen. Number two, I'd like to mention as well that we have, as you probably well know, an aging population. We're probably going to lead the country, if not already, in those who are seniors. Aging in place is very important. We can save a lot of money by having homes where people can live comfortably and healthy, but it's going to require some funds to get the homes so that they are safe and habitable. We can't have people living in homes without wheelchair ramps, in porches that are falling through and down, in homes that don't have proper bathroom facilities for those who are slightly handicapped, et cetera, et cetera. So aging in place is something that we're going to really push very hard. Thirdly, here in this building, on the third floor, we are trying to have some apartments for veterans. In the packet, you will see the veterans program. It's for 16 apartments. There are schools all over the state. Bill, for example, in White Sulphur Springs, you've got White Sulphur Junior High sitting right there. Here we have this school. We need to have some funds. It would save a lot of money if we could put veterans into a place like this that is a cultural hub. The last thing I have is something that is really off the wall, and it's called, we need a different kind of an economy. I'm going to call it the time dollar economy. And the time dollar economy is where money goes out the window and we share time to do good things for each other, build community, and have a currency that is valued in time. Thank you very much. On with the show.
Thank you. I want to thank the committee for coming out tonight. My name is Gary Zuckett. I'm Executive Director of West Virginia Citizen Action. And tonight I'd like to talk about water. We all need clean, safe water, both coming out of our taps and in our rivers and our streams. This is very essential for our tourism, for our business and economic development. Businesses don't want to locate in a place where the water's no good, and for healthy communities and families. We all know about the threats to our water from mining, chemical spills, as we experienced last year right at the beginning of the session, and the oil and gas industry is also a big user of water. We really need to keep it clean because it's so hard to clean up once it's dirty, and there's several suggestions I have in that regard. I think we need to look at funding the public service districts to complete their water assessment programs and their protection plans, especially the smaller water service districts. John David is involved in one of those, and you folks down in Charleston did a really good job when you passed SB 373 last year to initiate inspection of the tanks that leaked, filing the water for a sixth of the state's population. We want to keep that strong and resist attempts to weaken that, and then finally make sure that the Department of Environmental Protection does its best to enforce the laws protecting our water, because water is life and we need to keep it clean. Thank you so much.
Good evening. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for coming to Fayette County now, and that this SCORE initiative is going to continue. I live in Charleston, West Virginia. I'm with the Sierra Club. Was born in, or was raised in the southern Coalfields, not too far from here, down in Raleigh County. But when I picked up the Gazette the other day and I saw where the SCORE initiative was not going to continue, I was very concerned. And then later on that day, thankfully, I saw clarification of that and saw that it was. So thank you for continuing this effort, because I do think it's very important. I have a lot of ideals, but I want to talk tonight about the ideal around energy efficiency. In particular, how a better energy efficiency policies in this state would help small businesses, would help school systems, and in fact already has, would help individuals save money on their electric bill. There are a couple of policy initiatives that I think would be very useful. One is LEAP, and I'll be honest with you, off the top of my head, don't know what LEAP stands for. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically a financing plan where people or small businesses and industries that wanted to put energy efficiency programs in effect in their business would be able to finance that through credits off of their property tax. And I can get you more details of that, but I do think it's very important that we allow the small business community to save money on their electric bill in a way that will help also reduce some of the pollution that comes from fossil fuel. Another one that I think you did have at one time and it got resisted or turned over was a solar energy tax credit. This would be, again, a way where residents and small businesses could install solar energy on their businesses and on their houses, and it would help them overcome some of that initial barrier of the investment that putting solar panels on can help. So I've heard a lot of talk in recent days about tax credits. I think this would be a tax credit to individuals that would be very helpful with that. The last one I'll speak about today is an energy efficiency resource standard, which would simply ask that and take advantage of this opportunity of having a significant portion of our energy portfolio in energy efficiency programs. I think energy efficiency is inexpensive. It is basically a good way to diversify our energy portfolio in a way that helps businesses and individuals. All of these programs and initiatives that are available in surrounding states, and I think that West Virginians deserve just as much. Thank you for your time.
Hello, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen to us. My name is Barbara Painter. I'm a VISTA volunteer with SALS, and I think it was meant for me to follow the other gentleman. The reason I wanted to talk to you tonight is because of the increase that Appalachian Power has asked on their bills. It's 17%. We have a client here locally that drives from the Dainese area when we give out food. The family gets $434 a month total. That's their total income. There is no way that they can pay another increase in an electric bill. They choose to pay their bills. A lot of them are elderly, and in doing their bills, they let their doctor bills go. They don't go to the doctor. They let their medications go. And some of them, the only way they eat during the month is through the different food pantries throughout the state. And weatherization helps. The energy audits that Mr. David was talking about help. But there's nothing that's going to help with a bill of that magnitude. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sam Payne, and I'm with the West Virginia Small Business Development Center. And the reason for my being at the podium is for information purpose. I am one of the business coaches that are throughout the state of West Virginia. One of my colleagues is here, Joe, and I'm sure he'll be saying a few words here in a few moments. But we represent the West Virginia Small Business Development Center. We help small businesses get into business. We help existing businesses grow their business. We help that more mature business, really look at, what next steps they need to take to really help their business get to that super level. In addition to coaching businesses and helping businesses put together their business plan, one of the things that I've been charged with as a business coach is the disaster preparation or disaster preparedness initiative throughout the state. I have 7 counties that I represent. That's Braxton, Clay, Fayette, Greenbrier, Kanawha, Nicholas, and Webster, and really asking those small business owners to think proactively, if you will, about disaster preparedness. If you recall, Hurricane Sandy that went through the East Coast caused a lot of devastation, and as a result of that experience, the federal government really realized that there was a need to be more proactive, if you will, in terms of preparation. So for disasters. So my initiative is to help businesses understand that piece. There are 4 areas that I'm kind of zeroing in on in those 4 counties, and that's winter weather preparation. And what I did, I shared with you, with the panel here, a document that we share throughout the SBA and throughout FEMA and certainly the West Virginia Small Business Development Centers. It's a slick on the winter weather preparedness, and it's just a checklist. Flood preparedness is another document that we have. Risk assessment preparedness and crisis communication. So we're just really trying to help businesses think about preparation for disaster. So when disaster strikes, having a plan in place and being able to put that into immediate action can mean the difference between staying open to service the needs of the customer or shutting down for a few days. So if there's anyone, any businesses here that would like to speak with me, I'll be available afterwards to kind of help them think about that particular protocol.
Good evening. I'm Robert S. Baker, and I'm from Beckley. When I first heard about the SCORE committee, I was very excited, and I was hoping to get a chance to speak to you in Beckley. But I was out of town, and I had a long time planned out of town trip during the time that the Beckley meeting took place, so I thought I'd come over here and talk with you. I was recently in Ohio, and I've been in several other places throughout the Midwest. One thing I've noticed about Ohio, even rural Ohio, is that everywhere you turn, there's light industry. We don't have that here in West Virginia. We need to be making solar panels, auto parts, garage doors, small appliances, windmills, whatever it is that people need, and we need to be making them here in West Virginia. Here in the Fayette-Raleigh Plateau, we have an excellent location where there's a substantial amount of flat land, unlike Boone and Logan counties, where light manufacturing could be built. And it has the added advantage of being a hub and crossroads to all the major cities of the East Coast, the Great Lakes, and the South in very, very close transportation distance. Now, one thing we have to be, and I have to disagree with Mr. Kirkendall here, is that we have to be more than open for business. I think it is very unlikely that in the lifetime of anybody here in this room that coal will come back as a booming economy. It's just not going to happen because it's not economically feasible. It's being wiped out by natural gas. It's being wiped out by other cheaper industries, and it's at the position where it's becoming economically unfeasible to mine the coal that we have in the ground. I was just talking to the CEO of Beaver Coal the other day. They can't economically mine the coal that they have in the ground over in the Beckley area, and that's going to be true everywhere short of destroying our mountains so we have no hope of having any tourists. Now, What we need is for the state to step in a way that it never has in the past. The state needs to step in and fund create new corporations, own the stock of that corporation, and then as those corporations become profitable, sell the stock and make a profit on the business, so that it becomes only in the hands of the state during the time that the business is developing. But somebody needs to come in and put in that initial seed money. And we just don't have the entrepreneurs here in West Virginia that are willing to do that. Now, the thing that I think is most important about that is that if the state develops it and then sells off its stock, the taxes, all those businesses will have taxes. This is a very significant alternative to luring in out-of-state businesses with tax breaks. We don't need to be giving those businesses tax breaks. We can grow businesses here in West Virginia ourselves, but we need to do it in a smart way, sort of like the GM bailout, where the U.S. government was able to get GM going on a very substantial footing and then sell off its stock that it got for the money it invested and make a profit on that stock. So what I would suggest is that somehow the state needs to step up and step in and get seriously involved, because the state's really the only one who has the capital, short of convincing Jim Justice to do something. Thank you.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Melissa Colagrasso, and I'm the owner and director of a Place to Grow Child Care Center here in this community. We employ 25 people and provide child care that allows 100 families to go to work in this community. I feel like it's important, as I listen to you talk about workforce development and being open for business, that I point out the necessity of having good quality child care in every community. That's not happening right now in West Virginia. In the last 2 years, the number of licensed child care centers has dropped by 20%. You have to wonder why. If you look to decisions that were made regarding DHHR subsidies, that's one reason. If you look to the decisions that were made regarding West Virginia pre-K, that's another reason. So we've got a couple of red flags, and what I would like to encourage all of you to do is look in your communities and say, what can we do to make sure we don't shut down all of the child care centers? Fayette County is now down to 1. I'm it. It wasn't that way when I started 19 years ago. So it's happening, and it's happening all over, probably in all of your counties. I'm also the member of a directors group, West Virginia Child Care Centers United, that has their pulse on the business of child care, and that pulse is getting weak. There's a couple other things that I would ask you to do in this spring term coming up. There is an initiative to increase West Virginia pre-K, which is a 4-year-old school, to 5 days. It's now 4. It doesn't increase the number of hours the children are in school. It increases the number of days, and this will continue to shut down child care centers. There's no doubt in my mind. There's another initiative that you're going to hear about this spring that involves putting 3-year-olds into the public school system. If 3-year-olds are not in child care centers, neither will their baby sisters, their baby brothers, and their 2-year-olds be, because there won't be any child care centers. Then you wonder, where do the working parents turn? How do they go to work? What happens then is more people go back on welfare. Even the professionals will become one person in the family working and just get by, because they won't have a good quality place to take their children. The workforce starts to drop. Every business that comes into a community looks for supports for working people. They want to know, can I get people in this town to work? You can't get people in the town to work if there's not childcare. So please just consider those things in your communities and at the state level when you're making these decisions regarding our youngest population. It's not just good social services, it's good for business. We have to be able to have childcare for people to go to work. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Frank Jorgensen, and I'm chairman of the West Virginia Hospitality and Travel Association, and I'm also affiliated with Winter Place Ski Resort and Adventures on the Gorge. Just wanted to make a few kind of simple points. Wanted to pick up on the comment about what Michigan did in tourism, the Pure Michigan. And I just want to paint a picture to let you know what they did. About 7 or 8 years ago, they were really down in the dumps. The car industry was failing. No one looked to Michigan as a place to go. And there, the legislature, they kind of rolled the dice. They decided to invest $5 million, but they insisted that every year there had to be a study by Longwoods International to see what the return on investment was. As a result of that study, they would see a return that was anywhere from $4 to $5 to $6 to $7 in additional taxes for every $1 the state invested. As a result, this became a nonpartisan issue. And in that state, there were times when the governorship changed from one party to the other, their legislature also. Never became a partisan issue. They're now up to $23 million a year. And how many of you have heard of Pure Michigan? It's just totally changed their image. Can you imagine what would happen if West Virginia, if the phrase wild, wonderful West Virginia became just as well known as Pure Michigan? It's just a phenomenal and powerful thing. The state of West Virginia right now this year is only spending a little less than $3 million on direct tourism marketing. When you compare that to North Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and so forth, it is just so far different. We're not even on the radar screen. So the other thing, Amy Goodwin, the new commissioner of tourism, she is in fact doing a Longwood study and some other studies. One of the interesting things that came out is the fact that over 25% of the overnight visitors to West Virginia are staying with family and friends. And so the opportunity is, we don't think our own family and friends understand what wonderful tourism opportunities there are here in the state. So that's an opportunity. One of the initiatives that we're going to take, and you'll hear more about, is a collaboration to see if we can get school kids and schools kind of partnered up with tourism facilities in a way that will get the kids moving, get the kids outdoors, get the kids participating and learning the business of tourism. I think there could be a lot of spin-offs and a lot of opportunities. With that, that's all. Thank you.
My name is Rob Goodwin. I'm a resident of Fayette County, and I just want to talk a little bit about post-mining land use. I know it was brought up earlier, and I think I'd just like to maybe counter a little bit what was said earlier about putting down a hog farm on top of a mountaintop removal site. No one's going to complain about it. I just want to note for the record that you can mountaintop removal within 300 feet of someone's home. There's people that still live near that, and so I think that people in southern West Virginia that live near any sort of economic development that's coming through should really have a say and have to consent to sort of how that's done. On another note, one of the big challenges I think to post-mine land use and redeveloping these sites is that we have a land ownership issue, and that we have sort of out-of-state coal companies, and sometimes foreign coal companies. I know that you've got Ukrainians operating. They got a mountaintop removal site in southern Raleigh County. You've got the Russians operating in McDowell County, and then the land is often owned by a separate entity that's European trust funds or just land owned but outside around the nation where they don't really have an interest in redeveloping that land for West Virginians. And I think maybe the solution is that if they're not developing the land, if they're not reclaiming their mine sites to get them post-mine land use, maybe it's a proper time for the government to sort of just take the land and redevelop it in a way at which the local people would like it to do. And I think that opening post-mine land use up to sort of local ideas and local control would sort of boost the level of creativity that there is for what you can do with these things in an affordable way that actually supports the local economies and not just big business interests that taxes and profits won't necessarily benefit the state of West Virginia. Thank you.
My name's Catherine Moore, and appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight as a West Virginian here for the long haul, but I'm actually mostly talking to the people back there, but I'll stay turned around because the microphone's up here. I'm involved with an initiative called What's Next West Virginia, and I'd like to tell you a bit about it and also invite you to participate in What's Next and join many others across the state who are talking and working to strengthen local economies. This is awkward. So we do plenty of mourning for what's gone in West Virginia. Countless once vibrant towns, tens of thousands of mining and manufacturing jobs since the era of mechanization took hold, hundreds of thousands of our people who have moved away to cities seeking work. And to be sure, such circumstances are real and have left us grieving. But I am coming to see this emptying out not just as a space of loss, but also one of potential, freedom, and possibility. For the first time in a long time, maybe ever, we're confronted with an enormous challenge and a beautiful opportunity. The chance to write our own story, to find our own words for who we are and who we want to become. What's next, West Virginia, is a question. It was founded on the belief that we as West Virginians have a role to play in determining our own economic future, that we have options to weigh together. What's next, West Virginia is a nonpartisan, neutral initiative. It's a series of conversations that are happening in communities all over the state about how we can build that future for ourselves and chart a course towards a more vibrant, diverse, and just economy for those living here today and for the next generation of West Virginians to come. It was born out of the need for deep conversations with each other about our current conditions, the future we want, and the choices we have to influence what tomorrow's economy will look like. There are already a lot of people talking and working together in West Virginia to build a more prosperous future. What's Next West Virginia is meant to knit those conversations and that work together and to bring more people into the fold, creating something bigger, broader, and stronger. It's being spearheaded by the West Virginia Center for Civic Life, West Virginia Public Broadcasting, the West Virginia Community Development Hub, and a diverse coalition of partners across the state who believe that this question, what's next, is so important, so timely, that they've joined together to foster and encourage discussions that seek answers. This coalition is offering training, materials, and other assistance to expand people's capacity to tackle this very tough issue. What's Next conversations are organized and led by communities themselves, and anyone can attend. What's Next is about residents naming and framing the economic issues that affect them most, about weighing, deciding, and acting together, much like we're doing tonight. But it'll go deeper, and it'll be a conversation. So what's next is a question that we can answer most completely with a diversity of voices and viewpoints, with the contributed lessons of our shared and varied experiences as proud West Virginians. So what's next, Oak Hill? What's next, Mount Hope? What's next, Fayette County? You can't do everything at once, but where could you make a start? Please, I encourage you to visit what'snextwv.org to learn more and to get started, and come see me for a flyer and we can talk. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I put the question mark next to my name because I really didn't come here with a plan to talk. However, I realized one should probably not miss any opportunity. I'm Jean Evansmore. That's what that J. Evansmore is, question mark is. I am from here, born and raised here, born in Concho, which is now, I believe, ACE, Whitewater Rafting Company area. Have lived away longer than I've lived here. I came back a couple of years ago. Don't expect to move again. I expect to die here. I bought a building in Mount Hope. A number of people thought I'd lost my mind. There have been times when I, too, have agreed with them. I kind of didn't know what I was getting into, but it was out of what's here in my heart, what's important to me. I've been coming home every year since I left, which was in 1958 when I graduated from high school. I was out of here within 5 days. Again, coal mining family. I bought this building, history of Du Bois High School, which was one of 2 black high schools in Fayette County, important to me. Been coming home from school reunions since 1972. Know that history. I have evidence of that history. I put up a museum, okay? I see what's going on with kids here. I know what happened with kids years ago, and they survived. My point always has been to show those kids that are here now, you can make it, you can get through this. It's a bit different, I understand it, but you can make it. We are constantly working towards that particular aim, to let people know that you can get beyond whatever the issues are now. I have defended West Virginia and all these various states I've lived for years. Lord knows I was shocked when I came back here and found out some of that stuff was absolutely true. Very disappointing, but this is where I am, and I've just accepted the fact that the good Lord told me this is where you're going and this is where you're going to be, and you're going to figure out how to make it work. I have one request to make of you, and for you to pass it along. My grandfather, I was raised by grandparents, pretty much. My granddaddy used to say, a man's word is his bond. A woman's word is her bond. What I have found out and had to accept this year is that is not what I see here. I have one request of you. Please, don't say you're going to do something and then not do it, because that is simply a lie. You've lied to yourself and you've lied to other people, and you are teaching children how to function. Watch what you say, do what you're going to say, or shut up. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ruth Baker. Thanks for being here. I'm a Raleigh County resident, but a lot of times I come over to Fayette County because they do such amazing things over here. And my husband and I joined the Fayette County Solar Cooperative this year. I don't know if you know about it. I wanted to make sure it was brought up here tonight. Some young folks here in this county wanted to see solar, and they partnered with WV Sun, and we had a meeting. 20 to 30 families signed up to have solar. We put a bid out, and we're getting, of course, a discount of 30%. We couldn't hire a West Virginia contractor because there hardly are any. The people that are doing it are from Ohio, although they have promised to hire West Virginians, and they brought their own electrician here, had him train a Fayette County electrician, and we're getting our solar panels. Ours go on next week. I think that's pretty amazing that that's happened. Thank you. And it's also happening in Monroe County, I understand, that there's a solar cooperative there. So I wanted to mention that. And then in my reading about solar, turns out I think it's an industry that we really need to have here from top to bottom. All kinds of people work in solar. There are more solar workers than there are coal miners in the country now. Solar panels have become less expensive. I found a report today, which I'll give you. You may have this they're the 5 policy recommendations from the Mountain Institute and Downstream Strategies for the West Virginia legislature. And I guess someone's already talked about tax incentives. The one I wanted to mention, they call it the Binding Renewable Portfolio Standard for a Solar Carve-Out. We did in 2009 enacted the Alternative and Renewable Energy Portfolio Standards, but we didn't carve out for solar. And what I understand is if we do that, it kind of guarantees the industry will come in, because we're saying some of our renewable has to be solar. So I'd like to give you this report and just restate I've been so impressed with the young people that are behind this kind of work and would like to come back here and work, but the industry really isn't here. It's not really been supported in West Virginia. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joe Carlucci. I'm an SBDC business coach, as Sam Payne said, but also embedded with the Regional Economic Development Authority here in Fayette, Raleigh, Nicholas, and Summers counties. But I'm here on more of a personal level. First, I want to thank you guys for continuing this effort for this region. I think it's desperately needed. I would like to see better initiatives for SBIR grants, STTR grants, out of all of the West Virginia companies out of all the nation. There were only 8 West Virginia companies that took advantage of this. Millions of dollars. There were 300 in Virginia. STEM, the alternative education sector of STEM grants. 1 company in Morgantown took advantage of that. And they made a movie about aliens or something. I believe that if we negated the inventory tax for West Virginia, it would greatly increase manufacturing, export, and logistics. When you're burdened with the 2.5% inventory tax in West Virginia and you're not in Virginia, you're going to cross state lines, just because it makes business sense. I would also like to see a moratorium or a gap analysis on why we're losing business in West Virginia. Why did we lose Beretta? You know, why isn't Benelli coming here? Why is Kentucky getting our business, and we're not? We're 500 miles from any major city on the East Coast, almost half the population of the United States. So we should be a major logistics hub of the nation, in my opinion. The gentleman said something about equity investment by the state. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can't take public funds and invest in private industry. What you can do is something that Georgia, Wisconsin, and about 21 other states are doing right now, and that's equity investment via the internet, where they're allowing a resident of West Virginia to invest in a West Virginia company up to $10,000 as an equity investor. That's being proposed right now in 21 other states, and not West Virginia. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Eric Ottenreith. I live in Fayetteville, and I'm here with some classmates who are in an electrician class here at our local vocational school. And I think that it's one of the best. It's a great asset in our community. We're getting a great education, and the students are great, and the facilities are great. I'd like you to see you support similar education programs in the state of all sorts, preschool, K through 12, higher education, and the technical trainings. One of the issues, there's several different issues, but they're all related to making a sustainable, viable economy. One relates to this this article that was referred to, ad cuts hurting business, rafting outfitters say. What was mentioned here at the outset was that there's not enough money being spent in advertising our state. And that is the kind of the headline item. But later in the article, it says this, that the state is perceived as lacking in key travel motivators, including being a fun and exciting family destination. We've got an image problem, and when you don't advertise, then your real character tends to show through to the rest of the world. And we do have a serious image problem. I'd like to see us consider that and address that rather than just throwing money at trying to hype our state. I would like to be enthusiastic. Enthusiasm sells way better than excitement does. And I was in the rafting business for 22 years, and we had a little issue that we struggled with, and that was creating discontent. When you oversell your product and people show up and it's not quite what they expected, that's a problem. They go home and tell their friends, not so great. I'd like our state to start seeing the environmental laws, rules, and regulations that were created many decades ago for the purpose of protecting humans, protecting the communities, protecting our water, our air. Start to see those as foundation issues for our state, for a good economy, and let's be smart and creative about doing all the other industries, the manufacturing, the coal mining, the coal or the gas and oil extraction, in line with those healthy, beneficial regulations. We waste so much resources fighting those things in lawsuits and, as you mentioned, Mr. Kirkendall, the social services. There's the externalities of these industries are crushing us. And it's a very difficult, complex issue, but I'd like you to consider those things.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I told a friend of mine earlier that I was really in disguise tonight. And, well, what I meant by that was that a lot of times, well, first of all, let's just look around. I want everybody to take a look at your neighbor, the person who's sitting next to you, who's around you. You see, because when I look around this room, I see all the resources that we need to solve every problem and every initiative that's been mentioned here. You see, earlier this evening, before the meeting started, I was standing here, and a man introduced himself to me, and he was from the USDA. Now, later, I heard John David mention that $100 million was sent back. Well, I think John David and that man could get together and find out something to do with that $100 million. You know, we have to look to one another, stop fighting one another, and just come together and let's get this done. Now, I've been gone to North Carolina for the last 24 years, and in North Carolina, they had a trash problem in a city called Winston-Salem. And they also had a trash problem in a city called Greensboro. I call this the tale of two cities. Well, in Greensboro, they decided to ship their trash 70 miles down the road and bury it in a state park, which they got permission to do. But in Winston-Salem, they decided to put wells down in their landfill, pump the gas up out of the landfill, and now the city makes $10 million a month. So, what are we going to do? Because when you look around the room, there are very creative people here, very motivated people. And when you take people who are creative, motivated, with goals and determination, that equals power. We have the power in this room to change West Virginia. Mr. Kirkendall, coal is very important to this state, and you made some good comments about coal. But you know, when we take that coal and use it, really use it. You see, if I had a piece of coal in my hand right now that would fit in my hand, there are over 10,000 fissures in that piece of coal, meaning little veins, okay? Coal is still used in most of the water filters that are manufactured today. Did you know that coal cleans water? Yeah, that's right. It's a lot of good things about coal that coal can be used for and is being used for. But the coal is being shipped out of here and then being used for those things after it leaves here, okay? We can do a lot of good things with coal. We have a coal technology center that's been there for over 25 years, sitting right there at Concord University, with thousands and thousands of uses for coal that we haven't even tapped yet, okay? We have clean coal technology now. We don't have to look for it in the future. We already have it. You can go on the EPA's website and look it up. There are so many ways that we can use coal, but I want to talk about water. We had a water crisis down in the Kanawha Valley, and it was very sad. It was very sad. It hurt a lot of people, and a lot of those people are still hurting. Well, the solution to that, we have right here in West Virginia as well. Right down there in Glen Ferris, we have a deep water aquifer. We can build a pipeline from Glen Ferris to go right down to Charleston, put an intake right in front of the state capitol, and sell the water to the American Water Company and let them pay us, the citizens of West Virginia, for the water. Yes, and we can also put another pipeline on the Elk River. You see, West Virginia has one of the largest industrial chemical complexes in the world, okay? So since we are manufacturing chemicals along both of these rivers, it only makes sense that we protect our water supply for our citizens. And so by moving our water in the pipeline, we're able to do so and get that accomplished. And now, if we had to build a big pipeline that far, I think that would take a lot of jobs. A lot of welders, a lot of piping, because we manufacture pipe in West Virginia. These things we can do, and we have the resources to do. We must do it. We got to stop bickering and fighting one another, okay? We can do these things. Another thing is the so-called war on coal. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's made up. But I do know this. If we take a delegation of citizens from West Virginia, we can go see the president, because the last time I checked, he was in the same party as a lot of people here. And even if he's not in the same party as some of us, well, I think he still would see us because he wants to hear from West Virginia. And I think he would end the war on coal. I mean, the Israelites and the Palestinians go see him all the time for peace conferences. Why can't West Virginians go see him for peace conference? You know, let's end this so-called war on coal. And I'm not afraid to say so. You know, and another thing, I've heard solar panels mentioned quite a lot. Well, I'm a fan of solar panels as well. And you know, we manufacture solar panels right now in West Virginia. They're being manufactured in Philippi, West Virginia by a company called Vision Solar. Okay, they manufacture those solar panels and they ship them to Africa and to Haiti. Okay, and they also teach people there how to manufacture them. So I was thinking to myself, and I said, wow, if they can figure out how to actually put them together in Haiti and West Africa, I bet you we could in southern West Virginia too. And I said, well, where could we do something like that? And I looked around at this big building we're in right now. And I said, wow, I bet we could do it right here at the Southern Appalachian Labor School with John David and the crew. Because, you know, I think John David started this place with little or nothing. And he just keeps working. My time's up. Okay, Senator Kirkendall, thank you very much.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, first of all, for your time and effort. And I know how hard it is at times when you're in this thing. I spent 14 years over there with you fellows, and I'm proud to be here and proud of you guys for your initiative that you're doing. But on behalf of Commissioner Walt Helmick, sends his regrets that he cannot be here today. And Commissioner, as you can see, Senator, he sent his best. He did. Okay. So, and I want to compliment Mr. Helmick on his foresight that he's came with in the last 2 years that he's been here. And I really want to talk to these people behind me here, and I hope you can hear me, because talking to these guys to me is just like talking to the choir. They know these issues quite well. But there's so much I can say here, and I may need more time than our friend here, but I'll not take nobody else's time, try not to. But with the Commissioner's foresight and bringing agriculture back to where it's supposed to be, or supposed to be now, that it's got kind of laxed over the years, and all his initiative that he's done, there's a $6 billion initiative for us in this state, according to what we've found so far. West Virginia consumes $7 billion a year, I think, in food, and we produce 1 million of it. So $6 billion that he's after. And in doing so, you mentioned the pork issue. These are real issues, folks. These things are really going to happen, and I just hope we get full support from you guys. I know we will. But these are real issues. I just hope everybody understands that. The pork issue is on that mountaintop removal site. People in southern West Virginia is definitely welcome to that. There's jobs, jobs, jobs. And we buy pork from North Carolina and Illinois, I think, and they are maxed out. They can't go any further. So we have a potential there for a lot of jobs and to help feed our school systems and our prisoners and commercially also. And also in the beef industry. Senator Kirkendall, we've looked at that. They raise beef out west. We've got the same issues here. We can raise them here under roof. And these are issues that he's looking at. I chair a committee of aquaculture with the fish industry, hatcheries. There's no reason that every county in this state shouldn't raise enough trout to stock their own streams. And we can do that. And we're working at that. The bee industry, we don't produce enough honey in this state to feed our school children. We have to buy it. Most of it out of China, seems like seeing on labels. But he's bringing that back to life. And the surface mining properties, not just in southern West Virginia, they're around. But we have the most of them. And that's just like free property. But you mentioned his potato issue that he's done. Within 2 years from now, we're going to feed every school child in the state of West Virginia homegrown West Virginia potatoes through his initiative. We bought the equipment. We planted 26 acres this year, right at 26 acres for the initial startup, and got a few of them out. But we buy potatoes from Ohio and Idaho, and we got prisoners living on a farm. And he said there'll be no more of that. So I'm proud of him for that. And our incarcerated people really enjoy getting out and making an initiative for us too. You know, they enjoy getting out and helping us. So all these things are real, especially when it comes to our school systems. It's going to be West Virginia grown. But the commissioner wanted me to touch one thing for sure tonight on the high tunnels. If you're not familiar with the high tunnels, it's not a greenhouse, but it's an inside garden. And there's money available for that, and this is an entrepreneurship special. If somebody wanted to make some decent money, the high tunnels, you can get 3 crops or 4 a year, just according to what you want to raise and sell. And a lot of this is going to be partnered also with the Department of Education. And I think we're going to get to where if you can raise it, we're going to buy it. So there's another initiative you won't have to do. You won't be peddling it beside the road. We'll try to buy it or have somebody, a customer for you. So anyway, I appreciate you being here, and thank you again for what you've done, and agriculture all the way. And if we need funding, we're going to be dead after you guys.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk. My name is Dave First. I'm the historian and archaeologist for the New River Gorge National River. And tonight I'm a little worried about this 2-minute rule. If my wife hears about it, I'm in big trouble. I'm here to let you know about a heritage tourism opportunity at the historic Beckley Gristmill in Raleigh County. My park is currently partnering with a committee of people like Tom Sofer, Gary Moorfield, and others to study the history and archaeology of the mill site ruins along Piney Creek. The Beckley Gristmill was built by Alfred Beckley in the late 1830s. Beckley's father, John Beckley, was famous. He was the first clerk of the House of Representatives and the first librarian of Congress. The mill was also the first industrial development in what was then Fayette County, Virginia. Future plans under consideration there are to develop, are to place the site, the Beckley Mill site, on the National Register of Historic Places, like Whipple, the Whipple store, the Fayette County Courthouse, and to develop it into an heritage park that people in the community can come down to and enjoy. Efforts are also currently underway to connect the site to a network of hiking trails that go from the YMCA fields in Beckley down Piney Creek to the New River Gorge, my park, and then onto the Boy Scouts Summit Bechtel Reserve. Now, in just closing, I want to just say that this kind of thing offers some opportunities for development, economic development in the area, and there's practical ways that people in the community can do this. The funding for this project came through grants from the State Historic Preservation State Preservation Office to the certified local government in Beckley, and you have one right here in Fayetteville you could use to get grants for these kind of projects. And it's important also to use that as sort of seed money to get money from foundations. A lot of the money that the project we're working on came from the Beckley Area Foundation. And just finally, it's important to try, if you're going to do historical research like this, to try to tie it to economic development. And heritage tourism is not only something that we can think about locally, but it's also something, if you go to any of the Appalachian Regional Commission meetings, this is one of the big things they talk about. So you have a partner at that level also to work on this. So I just want to thank the senators for the opportunity, and good luck with your work.
Good evening. To our honored political leaders, thank you very much for taking your time to hear our comments. I'm Dave Harvickson. I'm the president and CEO of Adventures on the Gorge. And I want to respond to a question that some of you have heard this year, which is what's happened to our rafting industry and what can we do to fix it? So I did an exhaustive study since I took over this role to try and figure out just exactly what happened. So to condense it down, make it as simple as possible, there were strong economic conditions from the 1980s through the 1990s that drove rafting to really great heights, and that was supported, for example, by the baby boomers being at an optimal age to raise families, and they were doing well economically, so the rafting industry did really well. But since 2001, as we all know, there have been major geopolitical events and, generally speaking, negative economic factors that have driven not only our industry down, but a lot of other industries. And that was aggravated by, in our case, in the rafting industry, we lost marketing dollars as all of the rafting companies consolidated and became from 22 companies in West Virginia down to 8. At the same time, West Virginia's tourism budget was dramatically slashed to what it is at present day. But to solve the problem, we recognize the first thing we have to do is help ourselves. So it's important that all of us that are in this industry do what we can to market much more creatively and think in different ways than we have in the past. But we also need a helping hand from the state. And I want to echo what Frank said earlier, that we need to have the tourism budget restored to historical levels. And there's no question that that can have an immediate impact on our business and many others. And tourism can benefit this state in a powerful way. It is an export of this state. It's a clean, renewable resource. It generates tremendous satisfaction from our guests. In fact, we get a 4.8 average rating on TripAdvisor. That I challenge anybody to find many industries that get that kind of level of satisfaction. And it does a lot of things for this state. But this is much more than the tourism. The importance of the tourism budget for the state of West Virginia is much more than just about rafting. It helps skiing, it helps golf, it helps restaurants, it helps gas stations, it helps grocery stores. All these different businesses will benefit as we bring in more tourism dollars from our surrounding states. There was a great study that was done by Doug Arbogast at West Virginia University. They evaluated how did surrounding states view our state and how did we view our state. And West Virginia scored extremely high by both internal and external ratings on a great variety of questions about our nature, our activities, and everything else. So all we have to do is extend an invitation to our neighbors in surrounding states, and they will come, and they will leave their dollars here, and they'll help all of us. We have a great new leader in tourism, Amy Goodwin. Let's give her the resources to be successful. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Rocky Goodwin. I'm here on behalf of Senator Rockefeller. He had a vote this evening, but as most of you know, Senator Rockefeller began his career in a coal community in Emmons. He's fond of saying that that had set his moral compass and formed for him the last 50 years of service to the state. And although he's had 50 years of service and embraced all kinds of challenges, as he turns the page and will be retiring in January of this coming year, he last weekend announced his next chapter of service, and that will include the John D. Rockefeller IV School of Policy and Politics at WVU. And he gave those folks the charge last weekend that one of the premier focus points of that school and the study, the research that the students and the faculty will be addressing, will be to look deeply, fearlessly, and openly at the challenges that Southern West Virginia faces, from all of the issues that you've mentioned this evening: economic diversity, education, health outcomes. And so he would love to hear from all of you. He very much applauds the panel here tonight for holding this conversation and the two remaining conversations. And please be in touch with him through that school in the years to come as he focuses on this work. Thank you.
Actually, I am driving back to Lewisburg tonight rather than Charleston, so I'm not going to say much because the roads are getting slick and I want to get home. I really do appreciate you coming out tonight, and the variety of thought and what we've heard has been very beneficial. We have a wonderful, wonderful fiddle in the case here, and unfortunately, we don't realize its value and it's selling for nothing. But once we hear the music play from the strings of this fiddle, it'll be a beautiful piece of music that will stir the hearts of many. We have so much to offer in Southern West Virginia, and we need to be proud of who we are, we need to be proud of what we have, and we need to look at where we need to go. I'm excited about listening. I've heard so many different ideas. Some are practical, some are impractical maybe, but they're all ideas that can come together and make a beautiful song together. I think Tango's right. We have a lot of creativity power, creative power that we need to work together. I want to emphasize once more the tourism aspect of this and the agricultural aspects of this. I represent both of those areas well in the Senate, and I think those are areas that we can look to renew, restore, excite communities in Southern West Virginia. And I'm anxious to continue working on that as we go forward. So thank you for having us tonight. And I'm very proud Senator Kessler has continued, and Senator Kirkendall, who chairs this committee, continues working on this committee with us.
Thank you. We'd also like to recognize our colleague from the House, although not a formal member, has been here with us tonight, Senator Dave, or House Delegate Member Dave Perry. He's also here for Coalfields. We're happy to have him here tonight. But again, I want to thank all of you for coming and attending and listening. And Mother told me a long time ago that, Jeff, you learn a lot more by listening than talking. So I think the benefit of having these listening tours, both here last month in Beckley, and we'll have another one probably down in the Bluefield or Mercer County, McDowell area, and then probably wrap it up in the Boone, Logan area where the co-chairman of the committee, Senator Kirkendall, resides, so we can hear from some of the folks down there. And I'm ribbing from time to time because I still tell folks, although I may be from northern West Virginia, I am from the leading coal-producing county in the state. So it used to be Logan, used to be Boone. So I think we talked you, but we're also blessed up there, as you know, with the Marcellus gas, and that's one of the reasons we did the Future Fund last year and passed it, and so that we could hopefully put some money aside in that. Now, that's the good news we created it. The bad news is we haven't funded it yet. And the reason we haven't been able to fund it is because of the fact that under the legislation, as long as we're borrowing money out of the rainy day fund, we can't keep sucking money into another savings account. So I'm hopeful that we'll resist the temptation to keep sucking money out of the rainy day fund and to try to start putting that money aside, because one of the principal objects in funding opportunities that are available in that legislation, one of the permitted uses of the money will be to restore money to the historical energy producing counties, i.e. southern West Virginia, that have produced so much energy and coal for the state and its economy and for its wealth of its people. But now with the coal's decline, with some of the more things that have occurred over the last few years and the loss of employment in that industry, that we need to make sure that we restore some of the wealth that might be coming from the oil and gas and energy in the northern part of the state to start taking care of other areas of the state that have given so much to us. So that is one of the other purposes of the future fund, and we hopefully will be able to one day put some money in, save enough money so that we can sit around. We won't be talking about all the problems. We'll be talking about all the good things we can do. So, but it is important that we come out, listen to you, listen to the people that are in the communities, so that you can give us some ideas of what you know, what is going on in your backyards that can help us take the Charleston initiatives that might make your communities a better place. So again, we've got a couple more of these to do. I don't profess that this is going to be the silver bullet that changes the world, but I listen to you. If we can do a few things this year, it may be something that can make an immediate impact, and some things will be a more long-term thing. One of the things I keep hearing universally is we need to put some more money in tourism, because you're right. There are so many good things, particularly in southern West Virginia, from the the crown jewel of the state with being the Greenbrier and all the opportunities down there, with the whitewater rafting, with the Hatfield-McCoy trails, with the New River Gorge, and so many. Biggest city in the state a few weeks ago wasn't Morgantown when WVU played TCU. It was over when everybody was jumping off the bridge over in your district, wasn't it, Senator Larry? So, 100,000 people. So there's no reason why we can't do those kind of things more often, more regularly, and to continue to build our state. So that's our goal. We need your help. I don't have all the answers, but working together we'll find solutions. Thank you very much.